Hello and welcome to the Pirates Fan Forum on DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network. You diehard Buccos fans, you to be here on draft night. I can't believe it. With me, as always, my good friend Jim Stam. How you doing, brother?
Dude, let's give a shout out to any of the sickos that are on this show listening with us right now. Yeah, you could talk about Shedeur Sanders. You could talk about Travis Hunter. Let's talk about Matt freaking Gorski. Let's get sick.
That's right. And with us for the first time, longtime chatter, you guys have all talked to him in the chat before. Ryan Lytle joins us here. He's also pretty famous for the DK Pittsburgh Sports Chat, so everybody should know him that's affiliated there. How you doing, Ryan?
Doing well. I appreciate being here. Thanks for the invite, and glad to see you guys and talk to you.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a good time. So we got some news, Jim. We weren't even planning on talking about any news, and now we got news. You got to do it. Matt
Good
Gorski,
news,
your favorite baseball player, got called up. I mean, he didn't take you any time last week at all to decide that he was the right player to get called up when I asked. I mean, you were on board all along. Matt Gorski, though, long time coming. Last year, really, to kick the tires on him. And what they do here is buy a brand new bank of options, even if he's interesting. You get to keep him in the minors now for a little while longer, even if he's not ready, but you think there's something there. He's worth keeping. Jack Sawinski goes down for him. I think we knew something had to happen there. Are you happy this is what they did?
You know, I think I was talking to someone on Twitter yesterday about they mentioned Gorski, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Do it. Let's do it. Jack has had his problems. We all know what they are. He didn't take his turn and run with it. They've certainly given him opportunities. Do I think Gorski's do I have some concerns about Gorski? Absolutely. But the dude is hit down there. He's 27. He's getting a chance. He can't be anything worse than what they've been running out there. And sure, why not? They need some power. They do. So I'm for once okay with it.
Ryan, what do you think? You're a minor league person. You love watching the minor leagues.
I think
Gorski.
I think it's good that he's going to get a shot. And as much as I hate to say it, I think Jack needs to go down and get some playing time, get some work. He's been struggling again since when he came up, and I'm excited to see what Gorski can do.
I'm starting to feel about Jack like Jack almost needs, don't get me wrong here, I'm not wishing for it, but Jack almost needs like a catastrophe. Jack needs like the team to be so decimated that they have no choice but to put Jack Sawinski in and play him for 2-3 weeks straight. And that's the way you can finally get the nail in the coffin or find out. Is it just a guy that has got to get his legs under him, or is it just a guy that's never going to get his legs under him? Because the only difference between what happens in AAA and what happens in MLB, he plays in AAA, he sits up here. That's not good for any player, especially one that is streaky AF anyway.
Yeah, I even might suggest a change of scenery for Jack at this point. There was something there. He's lost his way. Maybe he can unlock it. Maybe he does that somewhere else. But there's only so much opportunities you can keep giving guys. And eventually you have to hit. You have to be able to hit a little. Good thing about Gorski is he's got, he's got the tools, right? And as far as defensively in the outfield, he probably makes them a little bit better in that regard right now. So I'm all
he's their
for
best
it.
Center fielder right this second.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's probably their best first baseman right this second.
That's what I was going to say.
He just has to hit a little bit. God, that's all we. The bar is not high here. Let's be honest. We just need guys to hit a little bit, and we haven't even had that. So, it's not. there's some other news that's a little concerning with the bullpen. I don't know. Do we want to get into that right before we get out of here? Or?
Well, but like, let's finish up with Gorski, because the last point I really have on Gorski is when he does get hot, which, when last time he really, really got boiling hot like he is right now, had Cody Duncan on Twitter, like putting him in the 2025 starting lineup and All-Star game. So like, so it's been a while, but when he gets scorching like that, he's just as hard to get out of that mode as he is to get into it. So he does have a chance, I think, to come up here and carry it on a little bit. I'm not one of those people that thinks he comes up here and just strike out. I think he might kind of light the fire here for a minute.
Hey, even if you can catch a little lightning in a bottle with them, until they can get a couple more of these pieces back that aren't game changers anyway, but let's be honest, there's a couple guys that could really help. So, Gonzalez, Horowitz, guys of that nature. So
right. So the other move we got to talk about is more unfortunate. Fortunate for Mike Burroughs, he comes up. I don't know how they've planned to play this out yet, but Mike Burroughs comes up and Justin Lawrence heads to the IL with, what was it? Right elbow. What, Jim? What was the word?
Right elbow inflammation, which is always scary.
Yeah. So it could be like a maintenance thing, or like a scary, like, hey, let's just make sure everything's okay thing, or it could be the worst. And either way, that's terrible. He's been great this year for us, and like a real weapon in the back end of the bullpen when we really, really needed help back there. Waiver claim, so it's not like you can act like you had a whole bunch of time invested in him, but that hurts still because he was really pitching well. Ryan, what do you think about that? And then Mike Burroughs, how do you think they're going to use him?
That's a good question. I would almost, depending on how tonight goes, I'd almost prefer to, give him. I'm not sure exactly how much he's been pitching in the minors. If he's been coming out of the bullpen or if he's been
starting, but like they have had so many rainouts and whatnot that it's really hard to track. And it feels like, if nothing else, they could use him. Actually, Eric here beat me to it. They could use him to piggyback with Majinski tonight, and maybe that's kind of the plan, is to keep them hinged almost like they did Harrington, because dare I say they care a little less about Burroughs than Harrington as far as like making sure he turns into a starter. Jim, thoughts?
Yeah, I think I did see a quick thing on where they told him he'd be in the bullpen, whether that's long relief type piggyback stuff. Well, I would say I was a little surprised. He's not off to a great start in AAA. I think he's given up 4 home runs in 14 2/3 innings.
It might be as simple as kind of figuring you already had to create one 40-man spot today. Maybe you don't want to try to create 2.
Sure. Absolutely. So we'll see how that plays out. I think the thing that is a little discouraging here is the bullpen's been really kind of lights out. And, you're now going to be down Mesa to the 60-day IL. You're going to lose Lawrence for who knows how long. So you start chipping away at that a little bit. And, it creates some issues. So hopefully, Burroughs comes up and at least equates himself at least to being able to give them innings, if nothing else.
All right, we got to take a break. We're going to take the break. When we come back, the first thing we're going to do is call your shot, because Taylor's now on to doing mini series for these things. So it's going to take a little while. We got to watch it. Then we'll answer the question. There's 2. Yeah, they're baked into one video.
Okay.
We'll listen to it. We'll answer the questions, and then the 2 T-shirts will already be virtually out the door, and then we're going to spend the rest of our evening together talking about Oneil Cruz, because we had this idea baked up for a while, and the way he's playing right now, Jim, it's never made more sense.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
All right, welcome back to the Pirates Fan Forum here on DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network. Jim, before we delve on our Call Your Shot tonight, I do want to mention David Bednar. First, you were right, I was wrong. They listened to you and did not put him right back in the starter role. I totally did not see that in the realm of possibility.
Miracles happen.
Well, just like having back-to-back lineups, right? So Bednar in the 7th, and he's done really well in both outings, which kind of chips away a little bit at the pain of losing Justin Lawrence. If David Bednar is going to pitch like that, I mean, that's David Bednar. That's what he was.
Yeah, he's back to some swing and miss. Some the high fastball looks like it's playing good. He's mixing in the curve a little bit more, I think. So, sometimes you have to reinvent yourself a tiny little bit along the way, and we'll see. It's early. Bednar looks like that last outing was a big confidence boost for him. I think when you saw him walk off the mound, he kind of yelled into his glove a little bit. He came down. Teammates were, giving him some firm ass pats on the way through the dugout. And, he needs that. He does, because I think a lot of this has been confidence with him, a lot.
I would agree with you. And Ryan, I mean, what's your comfort level here? I still think I like them slow walking him back on his way to the closer role, but there will come a time when it just makes sense. How long is that for you?
Yeah, I'd give him a little bit more time. Let him get comfortable with where he's at now. He looks comfortable. I agree with Jim that the high fastball swing and miss, that was his go-to. That's typical Bednar. So to see him throwing that pitch again and getting their swings and misses, it's definitely a good sign. I'd give him a little bit more time just because I wouldn't want to shake his confidence just after a few outings. I'd let him get more comfortable and then just maybe slowly transition him back into that closer role.
Yeah, and I think too, like until Dennis Santana, who I think we all agree is not your ideal typical closer, but until he goes through a rough patch or something like that, like just let it play out. Just right now everything's okay.
I kind of like them just playing matchups. I like what they're doing with Burroughs or Santana. Maybe at some point throw Bednar into that mix. My thing is, like, I think if it's really about confidence and everything, to me, part of Bednar's confidence is that identity of being the closer. So I do think it means more to him than any of the other people involved in that menage a trois. But let's just leave it there. Let's do Call Your Shot. It's a good one, and I'm still going to play my hokey little video.
Call Your Shot is here. Let's get it, Gary and Jim. Oh, and hey, what's up, Ryan? Welcome to the show, buddy. But first, let's cheers to Steelers draft night tonight. We're looking forward to seeing who's going to be in the new black and gold here in the fall. Who do you guys think we're going to get? And also, while I got the mic, quick little history lessons for Yins. Did you know that I spent 5 years in California and SoCal? Used to go to the Angels games all the time and would never miss a Buccos game. But that's where Yins was actually founded. I came up with the idea while I was over there. Bumper stickers everywhere. Yins Nation is real. And nothing better than a winning Bucks team. Let's see the sweep tonight. Let's get back to ball, boys. Gary, Jim, your question this week is from Longbeards. Congrats on winning the t-shirt, by the way. And thank you for everyone for reaching out and commenting on our Twitter this week. Longbeard's question is, with Falter possibly injured and Majewski being ineffective, we'd assume we're going to see Harrington again very soon. But now that Chandler has been ramping up his pitch count, do you think we'll see him sooner versus later?
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
How about a quick bonus question, too? follows right along with Longbeard's question from Mic'd Up Sports. Thanks, Mike, for reaching out, buddy. He wants to know when we see Hunter Barco. We have so many good young pitchers here. We are stacked down there. Let's get these boys up here. What do you say? Take it over, Gary and Jim. Cheers, boys.
Changing the game, spitting that flame. His name is all. I got that Pittsburgh sound, and I'ma always hold Pittsburgh down.
Let's go back.
There we go. I should have edited that better. Sorry, guys. That's what you get with a live show. So let's see. First question: who are they going to draft? I have no idea. You guys want to pitch in on that? Have at it. I have not intentionally not paid attention.
I just really don't know. There seems like there's a lot of that this year. No one can kind of pin down anything. I'm one of those guys. Just let's see how the draft plays out. I'll respond afterwards. I don't get into the mock stuff. God bless you if you do. It's not my jam. That's all I'll say.
I figure I'm dumb. I'm going to force myself to pretend I like whatever they draft. So, you know what I mean? I just don't know.
I don't think they're going to draft a quarterback in the first round. That's just my thought. I think they're going to go. They got Andy Lytle in. They want to get big. And Cam Hayward's getting older. They want to go defensive line. That's what I'm thinking first pick. But we'll see how it goes.
Ryan's more qualified than Jim or I on this one. I can tell you right now. He even had a position ready. I don't. Let's take the Hunter Barco question next because it was last. Well, Hunter Barco is gonna get a promotion to AAA. Probably, I would think as soon as Harrington or Bubba Chandler come up to the majors. It makes a lot of sense. Hunter's flown. He's a little bit older, so I mean, he's the only reason he's in AA right now is because he was recovering from Tommy John when he was drafted, so kind of slowed his progression. But he's come out like a cannon ever since. He's clearly overmatching AA. In fact, I've made it a priority to make sure that I get over to Altoona here before the middle of May because I don't think I'm going to see him much after that. Unless I go to Indianapolis. What do you guys think about that?
Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think depending on how well he does and once he gets the call up to AAA, depending on how the season goes, we could even see him in the September call-ups if he's pitching well. I don't know that we'll see him before that. But
yeah, I think you could. I agree there.
But I think, definitely he's been pitching well in Altoona. I wouldn't mind getting to Altoona and seeing a game. I haven't been there yet, but
yeah, Jim, it might be pushing it to think about cup of coffee for him this year. That's a lot of jump, first of all, and I think his innings progression will be a little bit of a difficult task there to pull off. I mean, he only had 66 innings last year, so you figure they're only going to get him up right. Yeah, Eric just said it in the chat too, and I think they're going to. I think they're probably going to have to stop around. You figure max 100. That gets him to AAA, and then probably either put on severe innings restrictions or shut down before the end of the year. And they're already doing a couple of 40-man additions. You figure, well, we just had another one with Gorski, but you figure, Chandler for sure. And I think Termar Johnson might have a better shot of getting here from AA, if only because of the need for offense. So,
yeah,
probably not this year for Barco, I wouldn't think. He's not even a Rule 5 consideration this offseason.
Yeah, probably not. Would he be a guy that I would be interested if they had to play, if they had to get a game, make up a game or something, and they called him up and let him get that taste if he's still killing it? Yeah, I would I did not realize how big of a guy he was.
Yeah.
He surprisingly. So I would be okay with that if he's really still eating as the season goes along and they need him to pitch, the second game of a doubleheader. I think the Chandler thing to me is really interesting. Is it fair to say it looks like they're just going to play this out almost exactly like they did Paul Skeens, or it seems like it to me?
Jim, it feels like a clone of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, first, congratulations, Eric. He's actually here, so I'll flash him up there. Eric is Longbeards. So congratulations, Eric, on the shirt. And good question, for real. First, I don't think Falters is injured. I think he just had a back flare-up, and, you know, tall, skinny dudes have back flare-ups sometimes, especially guys that practice the art of being top 99% in extension from a baseball mound. You're going to twist your body in some weird ways to do that. So I think he's okay. Majinski's ineffectiveness. Well, see, I hate to do that to Majinski because it's not really ineffectiveness. It's hitting a wall. He's starting these games fine. He's getting to a point where he is getting hit. It's either being seen twice, and that's either from them understanding your repertoire and beating you up, or you're getting tired and your stuff isn't the same. He's admitted the second one, and he knows the first one. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, and the equation, no matter how you do the math, even if Stephen Hawking's involved, winds up creating the sum of a bullpen arm. At some point, they're going to make this decision. I do think they're keeping the spot warm for Bubba. Either of you, have at it.
Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, with Majinski, that's why when we were talking about Burroughs, that's why I was thinking it might be worth, seeing how Burroughs does in the starting role and maybe putting Majinski back into that long relief role, because he was really good there.
Yeah, right.
Before he got injured, and then I would be interested to see what Chandler can do when he comes up. I don't know when that's going to be. If they're going to look at bringing him up anytime soon, or if they would just keep him where he's at and put Harrington back in.
It's a good point from Dave. Jim, what do you think of that? With Lawrence out now, they have another excuse to move him back to the pen.
Well, if you're looking to soften the blow of that news, that would be the way to do it. Would just say, "Hey, buddy, we'd love to keep you in this starting rotation, but with some of these injuries, we're going to have to slot you back into the bullpen type role." I do wonder too, like where Harrington fits in all this still the rest of the way.
I think they really think he's going to be a starting pitcher. I just don't think they particularly care whether it's here or there.
Yeah,
I think they plan on him bouncing between the two. And I also think they kind of know that he's a little bit of a project, right? I mean, like, he's a really good pitcher. I think he has a good, solid top end. But I think that they know it's going to be a little bit of a dance for him to learn the league, because he's got to learn to pitch without having the stuff to overcome not learning how to pitch up here. That's a hard ask. It's a Quinn Priester ask. It's a Mitch Keller ask, if you really want to be honest. And Mitch had the fastball.
Yeah, I mean, it takes this is that education process guys get, right?
Yeah.
Once you get to this point,
and he's a smart kid, so like you'd hope that he does take to it.
Yeah. I think he's a good student of the game, and he pitches smart. So I think he'll be fine. I just don't want people to forget about him just simply because, he didn't look super fantastic right when he got his shot. So he's still plenty in the mix.
Right. And Rob tells us that Gorski is in the lineup tonight at first base. Hey, wow. I can't wait to watch some baseball tonight while the rest of y'all are crying about who the Steelers drafted. I just scroll past it on Twitter. And then let's see. Let's do a couple injury things, because this pitcher conversation, I just think we have to at least touch ground on where we're at with some of these guys we think might be coming back. Dowry Moretta, it sounds to me like he's a good month away. It sounds like they're pretty close to putting him on a rehab assignment. And it'll be an extended one, I would imagine, where he goes from level to level to level.
Yeah, it's
So
been a while. It's been a while.
I think that's probably what we'll see. But I expect him to be good, and they're saying his stuff looks great. So within a month, we really could have Dowry Moretta back as a reinforcement. That would be a nice punch in the arm. Jared Jones is getting scanned next week. And if it goes well, he gets to start doing some type of throwing activity is where they left it. So that means he'll get started again. So that whole 6-week period's up. Then you can start factoring in how long it's going to take him to get back. June something sounds about right to me. That's from me, not the team.
Yeah, I think whatever you're assuming for Jones, probably could assume longer. Just because you can't mess around with this stuff. You got to be super careful.
And Holderman, he's made 2 appearances in AAA, not gone well. I hope they let him actually figure out what's wrong with him, because he hasn't looked right. Honestly, he looked better right after we acquired him than he does now. And that's an odd thing to say. I know the normal running gag for that would be like, well, it's the Pirates. Of course. But not on the pitching end. You can't get away with that, okay? That's not what's happening here. The pitchers have done great. So I don't want to hear that. In fact, I don't want to hear whining about Rowanzi Contreras anymore. He hasn't caught on anywhere. They were right. They tried. It didn't work. They got a year out of that kid somehow before the league figured him out, or he quit taking whatever he was taking, and he's gone. The Pirates have done a good job with pitching. Johan Oviedo throwing 75 feet now in his rehab, recovering from that lat strain, Jim. So you would think that they'll probably start building out some kind of a timetable for his return too. Boy, I bet he's later in the summer though, don't you?
I think so. That's another one where obviously it's not structural, but it does take a long time for those things to completely to make sure you're past it, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to have a setback, and he could really give you a nice little bit of some innings later in this year. The arm's certainly going to be fresh.
I would agree. Ryan, anything to add to that? Are you excited about any of those? Scared of any of those coming back?
No, I'm excited about Moretta coming back when it's time. I would be excited about Oviedo coming back too, because Tim said he's a bull. He's a big boy with he can put some innings for you,
right,
with a fresh arm.
I think people forget too that we're talking about the setup right now and who could come up and when and everything, and it seems like there's way too many. And I've seen a lot of people suggesting trading Heaney, and no, do you not understand what's going on here?
Heaney?
Yeah, you can't do that stuff. Not right now. You got to wait. That's deadline stuff. And you trade Heaney if he's every bit of luxury. You have to stick him in the pen. You're so loaded. That's when you're like, okay, I'll trade Heaney. You know what I mean?
You're sitting at the deadline and you're 11 games under 500, and Heaney is still doing something similar to what he's doing now.
Right.
Then, sure, you see what you can get from somebody, but to have that kind of conversation on April 24th is it's just not how it works. It's just not.
Well, do you want to talk about this lollygagging, no good, downright loser of a dreadlock having player, Oneil Cruz, the rest of this episode?
Do we have to? Because yeah,
I think we have to, Jim, because listen, the kid's been a lightning rod since he got here, and maybe that's because he's so damn tall. It's an easier shot. But listen, right now, here's his offensive rankings amongst center fielders, Jim. A 355 on base percentage, good for third. A 519 slug, fourth. An 874 OPS, fourth. 6 home runs, first. 11 stolen bases, first. 13 walks, second. 40 total bases, fifth. Oneil Cruz makes mistakes. Oneil Cruz is slow getting out of the box every once in a while. Oneil Cruz takes a bad route to a ball and causes a player to get an extra base every once in a while, and it hurts. But Oneil Cruz is a good baseball player. And we need to understand that right now we are all being Jerry Seinfeld, and we are never going to find the perfect woman. You have a good baseball player. Shut your friggin' mouths and watch him play. He's going to make mistakes once in a while. Chill the hell out. Call him on them when he does it, and don't call that person a racist when they do. and talk about it as a baseball thing. It's okay to judge him. It's okay to expect more from him. It's not okay to hate him because he hits a ball 118 miles an hour and can't get to second before the outfielder gets it back in.
Where to begin with this? Let's go with, if you were hoping that you might see Oneil Cruz finally break out, there are some signs that are telling you that this is it, right? Like this is a breakout season for him. He's on pace. It's early, but he's on pace for some things Pirate players haven't really ever done before.
39 home runs and 71 stolen bases.
Yeah. So, and look, ups and downs and whatever. I know he'll go through those, but he hasn't even hit any left-handed pitching yet. Like he's killing righties. If he gets into a groove against lefties like he did last year, I'm just saying, like, this might be a really special year for him. And he's kind of doing it a little differently in the sense of, like, it's a little consistent right now, which is it's not these like massive games and then he's gone, like, right. Which is great too, by the way, because I think that's what they need, consistency.
That's a great point. It's a lot more drip to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel like 39 homers and 71 RB or 71 steal pace. Ryan, where do you sit on Oneil Cruz, A, the player, and Oneil Cruz, B, the Twitter weirdness that surrounds him?
I mean, he's just such a phenomenon. I think he's, as a player, I think a lot of the mistakes that he makes are mental. And he'll, he's still young, so he'll work some of that stuff out. I really like his aggressiveness this year. That's the one thing that I like. He's doing a lot of first pitch hitting, and growing up watching baseball, that was always a big thing with the good hitters. When they would get a good pitch on the first pitch, they would swing and they wouldn't miss it. And that's something that we didn't do even as a team last year. So that's definitely good to see. I don't understand. I mean, if it's me, I'm playing him every day. I mean, he's just that kind of player. He has the ability to turn a ball game around by himself. Now, he does make those mental mistakes sometimes, but like Gary said, call him on it, and better don't do it again. Just like the getting thrown out at third last night. Did really good with the hit, got the stolen base, but you got to know when that ball gets hit to the left side, if it's in front of you, you got to go back to second. You can't try to make it to third. So now
they definitely got to clean some things up there, and that probably heads back more to coaching than anything, because some of it, Jim, it's the first time he's seen a situation, especially when it's in the outfield. Like, I see a lot of frustration about taking bad routes. It's a hard thing to learn, to take that circuitous route. Everything he's ever done at shortstop is a straight line. You don't take an arcing path to a ball most of the time in shortstop. You're going straight as fast as you can to meet the apex of that ball, right? Well, the outfield's not the same way, and the ball doesn't just come straight.
Yeah, and you're fortunately he's in center, and reading the ball should be a little bit easier left to right, and he's got natural speed, and he'll make up for some of those things. But yeah, there's not everybody just because you're a natural athlete, which Oneil Cruz clearly is, does not mean that you're like a natural outfielder, because guys sometimes just never quite figure out those like reads and routes like you'd like them to.
He might ultimately be one of those guys that, everything looks like he should be able to play center, but he really works out better in a corner because he winds up, instead of having to learn how to adapt to balls coming from both sides, you only got to get used to it from one side now. You understand the arcs a little better. It's maybe a little easier to learn. I know Derek Shelton once said you put the guy at center field because the easiest thing to learn is just the ball coming right at you. And I get that, but it doesn't always just come right at you. And I think that's what's getting him right now. That the curvature of the ball, he's not understanding the arc he has to perform to take that route. And Trick Block, I think, is a terrible outfield coach. They haven't had anybody get better under him, if you ask me. Maybe Jack Swinsky. But and somebody here, Rob, did Gary just say he's on pace to be the second person in the 40-70 club? No, I said 39-71. and Matt said it, not me.
But guys, that's my point right there, that Rob was like, whoa, really?
Well, you don't think about it.
That's how kind of quiet it's been.
How about
it's a little weird.
How about these numbers from Donardo over at North Shore 9? I saw he put on next. This is really cool. Cruz has 10 singles, 13 walks, 2 intentional walks, and 1 hit by pitch. With his 11 steals, he's getting to second base 42% of the time when he gets to first. With that said, 8 times there was a guy on second when he got on. So Cruz has taken second base when available 61% of the time. I thought that was a great pull. First of all, I love that. But yeah, he has been that much of a weapon on the base paths. He's making mistakes on the base paths too. But man, he's outweighing it.
Right. But I think like to the point of, okay, center field, he's adjusting or whatever. But like when it's something as obvious as what Ryan mentioned the other day, that he did the other day, which was you're at second base. The ball was hit right in front of him. He has to, it's the most basic baseball play in the world, which is you cannot go to third on that. You're going to be out by, I don't care how fast you are, you're going to be out by 15 feet. And he was. And so those are the ones where you're just like, that's what all I want out of Oneil Cruz is I want him to be great. And I think he can be great. And so and the Pirates need him to be great. So that's why I criticize that stuff, is because I want that for him, and I want that for us, and I want that for the Pirates. So, everybody just relax. Everybody makes bad mistakes.
You made a comparison to him and Ben Roethlisberger, I saw online. And I see a lot of that in there. Like, Ben was really good. Great, even. But man, he could have been even greater if he just didn't make those few mistakes that he makes, And I think that's where you're coming down on Cruz. You can appreciate everything and you can still criticize that. You're not a hater or a fanboy for either of those. I just want to start talking about baseball players for what they do on the field and not assuming anything else about them as human beings or anything like that. I saw that article from Mark Madden. It actually it was wrong. I mean, I'm not gonna call it racist or something. It's not. I don't care about all that. I just don't like making assumptions about somebody's intelligence from what you see on a baseball field. Some of the stuff, I talked about that 118 mile an hour ball to right field. When I see replays of that, I don't see lollygagging. I see trying to catch my balance after swinging a bat that hard, and then trying to get all of my gigantic parts aligned so that I can start making my way to first base. And by the time he does, that ball's in that outfielder's glove like he grounded to second. That's not the same thing to me. That's not something to call out. And that's an explicit thing that he writes in that article. And I'm like, man, I've watched that play 6 times. I'm sorry, I don't see it that way.
Right. Ryan?
Well, I think that the other thing is that he knows when he's making, when he makes a bad decision or and like I said, he's still young. He's still got a lot of years left that he can learn and get better. He knows it when he does it. And it kind of makes me laugh. It says that I think it was the Pirates Twitter that said, don't make Oneil Cruz angry. You won't like him when he's angry. And he gets angry at himself when he makes those
That's a good point.
mistakes. So he knows better. And I think over time, he's going to correct a lot of that stuff. But yeah, he's got the potential he has is just off the charts.
Yeah, I think it's okay to want him to be great and hope that he can get this stuff out of his system. And, we're talking about a breakout season. If he gets rid of some of that other stuff, man, what are we looking at here? So,
yeah, and I think really that's the point. He can be great and he can still be imperfect because I think he's just an imperfect player. I don't even know if I don't think it's always an attention thing. I think sometimes it's really, I just didn't even understand that I should take charge there, or I didn't understand. I misheard that bat and saw that ball and thought it was going back, and that takes a long time to figure out things like that. You know what I mean? Even Kutch will start back sometimes when he was playing out there, and he was one of the best we've ever had.
Yeah, and I think too, like we like to romanticize that everybody busts it hard out of the box every time after they hit. Like, there are a few guys that will do that. Like, go watch Corbin Carroll play. He looks like he's shot out of a cannon. But and he's got that speed too. But let's be honest, the game isn't really played that way anymore. Do I think more guys should do it that way? Yeah. We see Oneil Cruz is not the first person to not run a ball out hard to first base. I'm just saying, like, I don't want to excuse it. I'm just saying.
I will say, if speed is a big part of your game, you'd like to see them use the speed in every application that you could use your speed.
Absolutely.
And it is. Like, you will never see Pete Crow Armstrong dog it to first. I don't care where he hits the ball. You know what I mean? Speed's his game. Well, Oneil, he's kind of setting up at least the reputation that speed's part of his game. He's stealing bases left and right. So, run. Make sure that double's a double. Make sure that triple's a triple. That's all I'm talking about.
Like, no, I agree. And I think too, like, I think like the next part of this equation is with Oneil Cruz in this situation where he looks like he's really putting it all together, aside from like some of the, miscues, whether it's on the base pads or whatever. Guys, what do we think about him like long term? Where he's at?
Oh, Jim wants to go alternate reality.
Wait,
all right. Listen, we're going to take a break and we're coming back and we're diddle-diddle-doo. Ready? Here we go.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
All right, welcome back to the Pirates Fan Forum. Pardon me, I just watched Wayne's World last night.
So Jim Stam alternate ending.
Dude, our budget is low, so sometimes Gary does sound effects. And sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. So I'll leave you to be the judge.
That was a great sound effect. Anybody that watched Wayne's World knows it, and it's way better than me trying to sing Bohemian Rhapsody. So should we keep Oneil Cruz long term is what you're saying?
Well,
has he already priced himself out, Jim?
I was just gonna say there's multiple questions here, which is, should they? Will they attempt to? Is it too late? Does Oneil Cruz want to do it? And I think the other part of this is his age is a little different than some of these other guys that have gotten some of these early extensions. So I think like there's some real interesting pieces with to the Oneil Cruz puzzle, and I'm curious where you guys stand.
You ask Ryan whichever one of those questions you want him to take first, because he's the expert here today.
Ryan, what do you think? Do you think that he's even willing at this point? He's 26, going to be 27. Where do you think, like, if you're Oneil Cruz, are you just going to bet on yourself and wait for that real big payday after the 28 season, or you think there's some wiggle room there?
That's a tough one, especially if you know the history of this team. It's tough to try to, if I'm him, I'm trying to maximize what I can get. I don't know if he's how familiar he is with the other teams outside, but we've seen him do things like, I know he's pretty fond of Ellie De La Cruz and other players, but that's a rough one there.
I think this is almost like pretending that farm girls don't have the internet and they're just as innocent as they were 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Just because he's playing in Pittsburgh doesn't mean he doesn't know that the grass is greener elsewhere, right? So.
That's how we do pay our bills, is with a farmersonly.com plug. So just to let you know, that was a paid advertisement.
Listen, man, it's what I do. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But I would like to. I would hope that they could get him, locked up.
It would take more than Reynolds. Is that fair to say?
Oh yeah, I thought Reynolds took a really team-friendly deal.
I think he did too.
So did Mitch Keller. I mean,
Jim,
yeah, you'd almost have to sweeten it even more now. And this was the big question, right, with Oneil Cruz before, was like, everybody is like, well, I want to wait and see. Well, the problem is when you wait and see,
then you see.
Yeah, and so does the player, right?
Yeah.
So that's the situation they're in. And, you're talking about he's a free agent after the 28 season. He'll be like 29-ish around there, like
just like Brian Reynolds.
Yeah, 29, 30. I think if Cruz was younger, and you go back and you look at like maybe like the Wander Franco deals or the Acuna deal or something like that, that age played a difference there and when they can hit that free agency. So
they also signed like long before they were even close to arbitration. Like just like they did with Michael Harris and just like they did up in Churios up in Milwaukee. I mean, and Bobby Witt. That's what a lot of these teams are doing now.
Yeah, and Cruz is now close enough to some money. You know what I mean?
He's got an increasingly growing family too. So like, I don't know that I would think that he's going to take a hometown discount. And it's not about the fans. It's not the fans' fault, but it's not like he should feel he's been treated especially well here either. If he reads anything in English, I think there's a reason he's not speaking to you, because he spoke to me. I know he can talk. So,
well, if he keeps this season up, he may brace himself right out. I mean, he may not even be a possibility for this team. Well, he keeps playing the way he is.
Yeah, right. And that's the kind of where I'm at. It's like you'd almost have to go to him like now and just see if there's anything there to get it done. Because I think once this season happens, and if he does do anything close to, let's just say he hits 37 home runs and steals 50 bases. I mean, once that ship sails completely, I think it has sailed.
I agree.
Now would be the time that you would say, hey, is there anything we can do here to help you out and maybe get us a couple years on the back end to where when you hit that 30-ish age range that you are still in line for one more big deal.
Yeah. You've kind of lost your leverage as far as like, hey, you wouldn't be making crap for a while.
Yes.
So take this. Well, that's not on the table anymore. So, yeah, I understood having a little prudence because he was a project. And he still hasn't broken out yet. Just because we think he's breaking out doesn't mean
Not
he
at all.
has. Now would be a good time, but I think he's probably all time as high on himself as he's ever been right this second. And I can't see it happening. And I saw somebody put in here, let's see, Wilbert, we're in the Skeens window, signed Cruz yesterday. What reason do you have not to? Well, as of right now, they time up, Wilbert. So, I mean, they'll both be here. You don't have to do anything for that. So,
yeah, and you can't.
In fact, part of me wants to say, like, if you're going to do anything, allocate everything you can possibly imagine you're ever going to have and throw it at Paul Skeens.
Well, that's the other part of the equation too, right? We all know that there's only so much to go around here with the checkbook. So it's another part of the equation, and you can't force someone to do anything. Even if you came to Oneil Cruz with something good, maybe he wants to play in a good spot. A better spot.
New plan, because we have him in Skeens past 2028, right?
Okay.
Yep. Yins, meet me down in the woods. I'll bring a goat. You bring a knife. We're
okay.
We're gonna have to do a ritual.
I'm listening.
And get the CBA to go a certain way in 2027. Like, we're gonna have to sell a portion of our souls. Not all of it. I don't know what to do besides that. CBA in 2027 could change everything here, and give you a shot at some of these players. If they don't act on Skeens, and he doesn't want to talk about it this year, he's made that very clear. So this isn't even like on the Pirates, where why didn't they approach him? He straight up said he doesn't want them to. So I think he's made that pretty clear already. And Oneil Cruz, I don't know. I don't know if it's too late already. It might be.
Yeah.
Jim, if it is too late, what do you do? I mean, like, do you start making plans to trade him, or do you think like Connor Griffin gets here in time to kind of save the day and be the new center fielder superstar?
Well, I think if there was a big pipeline of offense coming down the road, you might say, okay, if you're the Orioles and you're in this situation, well, maybe you think you can withstand it.
I don't think the Orioles feel like they can withstand this season.
Well, I know, but I'm saying as far as when they had all that offensive, stuff coming up. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's why I wanted to get to this tonight. I felt like the right time to do it. But Gary, you mentioned the CBA, and maybe the Pirates don't even know what the hell they want to do. When it comes to all that.
Well, this is about Paul Skeens here, but apply this to Oneil Cruz. Just let Paul play out his entire rookie contract. Don't pull a Garrett Cole with him, ride him out. I think that would be foolish. I'm just going to say that. Now, here's why I say that. They'll never, ever put forward the qualifying offer. So you're not going to get the comp pick for him. They might, but I mean, you figure at that point, that's probably going to be a $50 million commitment on paper. He might just take it. You know what I mean? I'm not sure that I see the Pirates putting that out there. I think you could get a haul for him in the right deal at the right time. And you might have to. Oneil Cruz, same thing. I wouldn't let him ride it out either. That's kind of the point here. You're going to have to make a decision before his expiration date. That's Pirate fan reality. Yeah. I don't want to say it's fun, but Reynolds isn't going to see 2030 either. And he's signed there.
I think it depends on who's in the front office at that time too, because I have no faith in this one that they would make the right deal if it came up.
Something tells me they won't be.
I would agree with that.
What would that be, Gary? I don't know what you're implying, but sure.
life, knowing I can't get a hold of a goat. All that stuff.
I gotta say, Eric, I disagree too with Eric. I don't want to be in an Ohtani situation that the Angels were in. And I know we're talking a little bit different here. It's not the same exact situation, but man, you just can't not get nothing for Paul Skeens if he's got to go, so that to me would be the worst possible scenario that I could envision for a guy of that caliber.
Yeah. I don't know. It would be painful. You're never going to win that trade. It doesn't matter what you get. You're never going to win that trade. I can say that Washington did pretty well, trading like Scherzer and, but they got stuck with Strasburg, and that's what I'm asking them to do with Paul Skeens, and that could happen even to that horse of a man at any given point. So,
yeah,
it's a scary thing. I think we all, really joking aside, should root for the CBA to change this game, because those two together, I don't see even the realm of possibility.
No,
it's almost like one or the other. I know which one I'd rather have, like right now, if I had to pick, but I don't think either of them would consider it.
Yeah, that's the other part of the equation here is the other side has to want to play, the game with you. So I believe Paul Skeens when he says it's nothing he wants to talk about right now, and he's not that concerned about it. But yeah, this is the reality of Major League Baseball right now. It doesn't matter. The Washington Nationals are really good, when they had Strasburg and Bryce Harper and Juan Soto, and it's a great problem to have if you have those types of dudes.
And Juan Soto basically rebuilt half their team in one fell swoop with that move.
Right.
And that wasn't even his final stop. A couple teams wet their beak on that one, before he finally landed where he landed. But
you're right.
It's a weird situation. Baseball makes it that way. The Pirates make it even worse that way. I don't want to even think about it because it's a long way off, and we're going to get to enjoy him for a long time here. But I don't think this is a guy that you're going to convince to stay here because he likes the Strip District. And I don't think right now he's with somebody that's going to be satisfied by our little town for all that long, and she's going to convince him to stay. I think this is and he's going to, out of the kindness of his heart, take $8.7 million a year to stay and lead this team to the championship. This isn't Sidney Crosby. Baseball doesn't set that up as a possibility anyway.
And Paul Skeens is the type of dude that the standard he holds himself to is going to be the standard that he expects from the organization that he is playing for. And
that's a great point, because I think there's zero chance he sees what he wants to see. Yeah.
Right. And so that is the bar for Paul Skeens, and he will accept nothing less than that. And good for him, by the way. And if he looks across to the front office at PNC Park and sees that, it's not with this group, that's for sure. So,
right.
Anyways.
Well, Ryan, do you have any closing shots, brother? Because we're going to close out the show here pretty soon.
Well, I mean, and I agree with that. And if I'm him, I'm thinking to myself every time I go out there, I have to be perfect, or else I'm going to lose the game because we can't hit. When we've done good the last couple of days because they kept the lineup the same. Maybe we'll see.
Right.
But it's going to be different tonight. But that's we got a couple of a new guy in there tonight, so maybe that'll help. But that's something that you have to look at. if he doesn't think that the ownership's going to try and build a team around him, why even entertain it? You know, why?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't want to discuss it either. So
Well,
I would love for them to get Paul Skeens. It makes a lot of sense, Jim. But follow me on another alternate reality, and I'll spare you the sound effects this time.
For time purposes.
What if you want to lock up Hunter Barco and Bubba Chandler and Jared Jones and Thomas Harrington instead? Instead of spending all that on one player, what if you locked up a few of those young pitchers and just kind of made sure you had a solid 3 or 4 staff, you know? You don't have to have the best pitcher in the game as long as you have a good pitching staff. And, I mean, you insulate yourself that way. You sign what you can sign. You know,
get some good bats for them, too.
Maybe Oneil Cruz, if he's a slight stretch over Reynolds, maybe that's something they could pull off. You figure they're going to trade Keller before he gets to his super expensive year. You know, before he hits $20 million, you figure they're going to move him.
Yeah.
So that's going to open spot and open cash. Swap in Oneil Cruz for that. You know, and I think there's ways they can manage this. I'd love to keep Skeens again. Let's root for the CBA. And let's root for Matt Gorski tonight.
Yep. Yeah. And you know what? Hey, you're going to get to see Oneil Cruz and Paul Skeens against the Dodgers here. You know, those are things I'm going to look forward to and try to suspend my crankiness over the future issues with the CBA and the contractual stuff, because I'm looking forward to that. I want to see these guys compete against the best and see how it looks.
Yeah, and let's hope they win this game tonight, because if you go in with your head held high and the Dodgers, it's complete house money you're playing with for splitting a road trip, you'll probably play better.
We've done pretty well in LA the last couple of times we've played. And let's get the sweep tonight.
And I would say we're sending our best pitchers at them, but Andrew Heaney's not going. So
fine, it'll be Skeens.
Yeah.
We'll settle for the second best pitcher on the staff.
All right, everybody. Hey, good stuff. Longbeards, congratulations. Mike, congratulations. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us.
Sir.
Great show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Next week, we got our friend Austin on, and we got another guest the week after. We're getting the bookings going again. The season's on fire here. The West Coast, I think, has been good medicine for the Pirates. Getting away from the home crowd and hearing another team have their fans chant for them to sell probably made them feel a little bit better about themselves.
Either that or give them PTSD. I'm not sure which one at this point.
That's right. Hey, let's pass it off to Ben, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Let's go, Bucks!
Yeah, buddy.